Hey, what's going on, beautiful people? Oh, things are just getting crazier and crazier. Today is, what is today? Friday, July 10th. It's almost to the point of hysterical. The hysteria has almost become hysterical. Okay, so simple question, because I know most people haven't actually done the research. Okay, most people, and it's just a fact. Most people haven't done the research, okay? So you can lie to yourself or you can lie to your friends, but we all know that most people haven't done their research. But why are so many people so confident in a vaccine or vaccines in general? I mean, people are so confident in these vaccines. I mean, it's just this blind faith in vaccines, regardless of their validity, regardless of their testing, the double blind test, regardless of being tested against a placebo. Like, just blind faith in vaccines. You know, this COVID thing is going around, and I keep hearing people say, I can't wait till we get a vaccine. We got to get a vaccine. Is the vaccine here yet? When I can't wait till we get a vaccine. I can't wait to get a vaccine. And they're going to get a shot and they're going to go, oh, and then they're just going to breathe a sigh of relief and they're going to go about their daily life because they got the vaccine. So they're going to stop doing all the extra protocol stuff that we're doing now, that the ridiculous, public safety measures or whatever you want to call them. They'll be like, oh, I got my vaccine. Oh, it's all good now. It's all, I mean, what are we talking about here? Like, people really need to do homework on vaccines. Okay. They really need to do some homework on these. And I'm not talking about, man, I'm not going to get into that, but just do homework on vaccines. Dr. Fauci himself says, on average, it takes about 7 years to develop a vaccine. And most vaccines, most of the R&D that goes into vaccines goes nowhere. Most vaccines never make it to market. You got to think that there's several companies that make vaccines. They're constantly doing R&D. Most vaccines never make it to market. Okay, most of them never even make it for whatever reason. The virus dies out, or they don't come to anything conclusive, or for whatever reason, it just never makes it to market. And the very, very, very few, the very small percentage, because you got to understand, there's not that many vaccines out there. Yes, there's a bunch compared to what there used to be, but in relationship to how many have been tested and how many have been tried, it's a small fraction of vaccines that have actually made it to market. Okay, and I'm not even going to say whether or not they're safe, but do your own homework and do your research as to whether or not they're safe. But such a small fraction of vaccines actually make it to market. Okay, and the ones that do, on average, take 7 years to get to market. We've known about the coronavirus for 7 months, and people, I mean, there have people already been injected with a coronavirus vaccine, already been injected with this thing, but there's not one that's readily available for testing or for to be used on humans or whatever. It's just not been released yet, and that's probably a good thing. But I need to understand, people are pressing and pressing. I mean, I know for 100% fact that if tomorrow a news story ran that said, we have the vaccine, go to your doctor tomorrow and get it, you could say it was free or you could say it was $10,000 and it wouldn't matter. People would be lining up to get it. Okay, people would be lining up to get it just because the news said there was a vaccine. And again, my question to those people, my question to anyone is, why would you get a vaccine that took 7 months to make when vaccines take a minimum or take an average of 7 years to make? And you're going to take one that got put together in 7 months? They started a vaccine for this 7 months ago. It normally takes 7 years. So we haven't done any sort of testing, any sort of research, any sort of efficacy. Like, we don't even know how effective this is, or long-term effects, or residual effects, or side effects. I mean, we know nothing about this, but people will line up and do it. So let me ask you this, and I'm not trying to be funny. I really want a legitimate straight answer, or it doesn't have to be a straight answer. You can give me a roundabout answer. I don't care. I'll try to figure it out. But Let's just say, on average, it took 7 years to manufacture a plane. And most planes didn't make it to market because they weren't safe to fly in. And we knew that. They were ineffective. They didn't get off the ground. They wouldn't launch. They didn't have enough fuel to get anywhere. For whatever reason, those planes didn't make it to carry passengers. But the one that does, 7 years, okay? On average, it takes 7 years to get one plane to market. And let's say 99 of them don't. So 1 in 100 planes make it, and it takes 7 years to make it. Let's just say it takes 7 years to build this plane, but let's just say a news story comes out and says, hey, it takes 7 years to build a plane, but we built this one in 7 months. Would you get on it? Would you put your kids on it? If you knew in your mind it took 7 years to build a plane, and they told you, hey, we built this one in 7 months, would you get on it? Hey, it takes 7 years to design, engineer, and build a car, go through all the safety protocols, seat belts, airbags, all these things. It takes 7 years, and most cars don't make it. But it takes 7 years to build and manufacture a car. But the news comes out and says, hey, we built this one in 7 months. Would you get in it? Would you let your kids drive it? Would you let your 18-year-old son or daughter drive it? Something that takes 7 years to do, but they did it in 7 months. And this isn't some sort of technological feat that we're going to be able to reproduce over and over and over and over. Okay? Because this isn't going to change that it takes 7 years to make vaccines. It still takes 7 years to design and engineer planes. It still takes 7 years to design and engineer cars. This isn't like the new threshold where all vaccines now are going to take 7 months. It's still 7 years. So would you get in that plane? Would you let your kids get in that plane? Would you let your parents get in that plane? Would you get in that car? Would you drive that car? Would you let your kids own this car? I mean, I'm just trying to understand what is happening right now. And none of this makes any sense. It takes 7 years to develop a vaccine, and we're talking about 7 months. And people are ready to line up and take this vaccine. So please, somebody explain it to me. And you can use this analogy on anything that's relative to you. I use cars and planes because that's how my mind works, but use this on anything else that's relative to your life and your lifestyle. Would you fly in a plane that took 7 months to build if you knew it took 7 years? Would you risk your life getting in it? Would you risk your kid's life getting in it? I mean, I don't understand why we're just absolutely suspending reality for the risk of something that, oh my goodness. So yeah, there's my question. And I could rant about this from 50 different angles right now, but simple question. It takes 7 years to develop a vaccine. It takes 7 years to develop an airplane. They build the airplane in 7 months and they create the vaccine in 7 months. Are you getting in the airplane for its maiden voyage? Are you going? What about a boat? You're going to get in a boat that's going to travel across the Atlantic Ocean. Normally it takes 7 years to build this type of boat. They did it in 7 months. You getting on it? What about a train? I mean, any of these things. And again, that's how my mind works. It's mechanical, it's automotive, but whatever. I mean, explain to me the difference. Explain to me the difference. Don't worry, I'll wait.